Hey, what's going on, everybody? Today we're going to be doing a book review of the first fantasy book that I read in 2018, and that's Kings of the Wyld by Nicholas Eames. Now, this book I felt was sort of a mixed bag. It basically follows the story of these sort of aging, middle-aged mercenary adventurers who are past their prime, but they have to go basically on a rescue mission for one of the daughters of the men in the party. And the problem is that the daughter is over 1,000 miles away across the Heartwild, which is a giant forest teeming with monsters and abominations of literally anything Nicholas Eames could think of. And she's trapped in a city being besieged by about 250,000 monsters or some sort. And they obviously have to go on this quest and rescue her. Now, I'm going to start with the negatives. First, the party has to come together, and while I don't mind that really in any sense, literally almost half the book is the party getting the band literally coming back together, and there's 5 of them. You start off with just the first 2. The book starts off with basically just Clay Cooper and Gabriel, and they go off on their own kind of mini quest to get the other 3 members of the band back together, and that would be Moog the Wizard, Matrick the King, and Ganelon the Southern Warrior. I mean, to me, too much of the book is taken up just getting all the characters like reacquainted with each other, in my opinion. But I mean, part of the story is that, but it just seems like it's dragged on and on and on. Now, other problems with the book is I know it's not taking itself too seriously, which I don't really mind, but some of these scenes were literally so over the top ridiculous that it kind of took me out of the book. I mean, like for example, in one scene, Moog the Wizard is throwing hams and cheese at the enemy that he's pulling out of his magical hat, and it's just, to me, that's almost like too trying to force it to be too comical, I guess. I know some people probably appreciate the comedy in the book, and actually a lot of it is funny. It just seemed like some scenes and some actions were definitely forced. Also, there's really not any explanation of the magic that goes on in the world. I mean, there's like wizards and other beings that have magical powers, and then there's magical objects and that sort of thing. But they're kind of all just, they're just there. And it just seems like anything and everything could be added to this world without really any rhyme or reason. Also, while I do like the band as a whole, once they're together in their interactions, if you take the band apart individually, not all of them like stand up quite as good as the others. Now, I think one of the problems why I felt like the book was a little underwhelming was not only was it almost a little too comical. There's a big lead up that, there's the Heartwild, which is this, 1,000 mile across forest and that sort of thing, full of all these monsters. And once the party gets there, it takes up like 50 pages or something, and then they're through it, and it just, I don't know, it just seemed very underwhelming. It's kind of a letdown. Now, on the plus side, the party as a whole, I think, works pretty good, to be honest. There's definitely a lot of like chuckle moments and funny moments that I think work really well. Now, I felt the world was really fun and imaginative, and probably in the rest of the books in the series, it'll probably get explored further. I also like that a lot does happen in the book, even though a lot of the book is they're bringing the band back together, but even during that time, there's a lot of like mini quests and adventures that go on, and they are pretty entertaining. So, in that sense, the book rolls right along, and I think that works really well with this style of writing. And as long as you're not taking it too seriously, I think the book works well. Apparently, I'm just a boring guy that isn't super into comedy, so to me, I think some of it just kind of fell flat, but hey, that's just me. And I still gave it 3.5 stars out of 5. I'll definitely be reading the next book in this series, which comes out later this year, and I believe it's called Bloody Rose. And thanks for watching, everybody, and remember, read victoriously.